Kia ora, good morning. I need to document this dream and oh my god. I swear to God, the last few days, every time I go to sleep and wake up, there's been a massive shift. Like God and Satan are really on it at the moment. So let's begin with my dream. I had a dream that somebody put a bag of weed. It was like the little what do you call them? The little buds. Put a bag of buds and a couple of joints through my front door, but there was a gecko, a live gecko, like a lizard, a little gecko wrapped around the joints. And then next thing you know, I'm walking with this little girl in like the country, but sort of like at the back of a major highway. And her and I had to cross this highway to get to the other side. It wasn't busy or anything. I wasn't afraid of it. I was, but I was getting to my aunties who were sitting under a marquee. It was my Auntie Kay, my Auntie Karen, and my Auntie Gail. Auntie Kay is no longer with us, but they had like a trestle set up behind them under the marquee that had like juice and food. And, obviously they'd been having some sort of outing. Sorry, I'm just sipping my coffee. But their lawn chairs were facing me. They were facing me, watching me and this little girl crossing the highway. And then I'm at a supermarket where I run my card through the thing because I'm buying the shopping, and it came up and said that there was no money on my card, that there were insufficient funds. And I was like, no, that's not possible. I know there's money in there because I checked it, like I can see it on my app. I know there's money in my bank. And she's saying, well, it's saying there's insufficient funds. So I swiped it again and it said the same thing. And then my sister Paula was like, look, don't worry about it, just use my card. And she swiped it and it went through. And I was like, but there's money in my bank. I don't understand it. And then just as I started waking up, I could hear rumbling, rumble, 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 rumble. And then I woke up. I woke up about half an hour ago, I think. I just went and fed the birds and to catch the fox and that before he heads back to his den. So, and the stray cats. So I'm sitting there piecing it all together, and then I decided to check X, because once I started figuring out what the dream meant, I knew I had to pull threads up from X, and oh my god. So let's talk about the dream. Obviously, as you know, to dream about the Matajoani is to do with spiritual enlightenment, but the fact that it was a gecko wrapped around it, it basically means something dropping in my lap that is asking me to change my perspective, to see things from a different angle. Obviously, because the weed is seeing things from a higher perspective, from a spiritual perspective. When you dream of weed, you're dreaming of connecting with God, not just your higher conscience, but God, the mind of God, because weed releases DMT and it's called the God chemical. So when you dream about weed, it means you're connecting to God, the mind of God. The fact that a gecko was wrapped around it, it was the cutest little thing as well. I don't even know if they have geckos in Great Britain, but the fact there was a gecko wrapped around it means that you're being asked to see change your perspective, change the way you see it, change how you do things, because there's things there's something that you're seeing has been camouflaged. So you're being asked to change the way you're looking at something, to reveal something that's been hidden, to reveal something that's been camouflaged. And in order to do it, you need to connect with God. So I was only going to figure this out once I went to sleep and connected with God, where there was peace and calm and no pain. Because obviously, when I have pain in my stomach, I don't feel that when I'm asleep unless it's really, really bad, and then I can't sleep. And I'm waiting for the CBD oil to arrive. So, and I have nothing in my system. I can promise you that you could turn up right now and do a blood test or a drug test, and I'm completely clean. You won't find anything in my system. I have no access to it, and I can't afford it, and it's illegal. So, I'm not an idiot. Sometimes maybe, yeah, but certainly not for the last, well, it's been a long time, because I'm saving up to buy a vacuum cleaner and and a washing machine. But it's not something that I do all the time. I don't lie, but I have no access to it, so it's not like I can just go out and get it. But that's not what this is about. I don't hide the fact that I've been smoking it since I was 11. So, it's the thing is, it's for me. It's when I do have access for it, it's medicinal. But like I said, you can sweep this flat with a fine tooth comb. You won't find anything here. It's not a regular thing for me. But that's not what the dream is about. The dream is about God asking me to change the way I'm looking at something. There's obviously something I've missed, and in order to see what's been hidden, to see what's been camouflaged, he needs me to step into his mind in order to reveal the truth. So then me coming down the back of the highway with my aunties watching. When you dream about your aunties, in Māori, fire. And that's my foundation, FAEA, fire, the Foundational Arts and Entertainment Academy. So my fire were sitting watching me, seeing how I was going to cross this highway. One of them is no longer with us, but two of them are still alive. And I had the little girl with me, and we came down the back road of the highway, and we were getting ready to cross the road. But I could see things from my perspective and from where they were sitting as well, even though we were divided by a highway. So the highway and having to cross the highway is talking about the obstacles, like how like my fire, the women in my family, seeing how I was going to face obstacles. Now, because one of them is no longer with us, and I'm talking about my Māori side, we're talking about they are the representatives of Papatuanuku, grandmother, grandmother Earth, Mother Earth. And the little girl with me will be my daughter, seeing how I was going to face the challenge in order to be able to achieve what I want, which is to build my school, fire, and have my daughter. She'll be like the cherry on top sort of thing. So having the backing and support of the women bloodline, because we represent Papatuanuku, Mother Earth, Gaia, whatever you want to call her. And then being in the supermarket, and my money being declined, and then my sister paying for it, who's the Taurus. And remember, Taurus is my twin, and they represent finances and money coming into the home, the kitchen cupboards, like putting food in the kitchen cupboards. That's everything that Taurus represent. So she was just representative of Taurus. And even in the dream I knew that. She had the card, she swiped it, everything was fine. But I was confused as to why. I could see I had money on my app, but the card was saying insufficient funds. And as a Scorpio / Taurus, not having any money to put food on the table is like to feed our kids and all of that, because, they also represent, Taurus always also represent the family and feeding the family, taking care of the herd and making sure that the herd is taken care of, that they're fed, that they're protected, that everything's fine. That's everything Taurus represents. My daughter is supposed to be the ninth element, which is resurrection. Now, this is important because when I woke up and I was thinking, why was the ground shaking? I automatically went to that dream that I had about Queen Elizabeth, where she stood on Windsor Castle and she said, no, and stomped her foot and the ground shook. So then I thought, okay, earthquakes. And then it was just like this light bulb went off. And it was just like boom, 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 boom. I've put links in the description box below to all of this. And then I realised that the dream made perfect sense in every kind of way. I've been talking about earthquakes. I said an earthquake coming for Yorkshire. If you look at all those links in the description box, you'll hear me talking about earthquakes and the ground shaking. You'll see me talking about naval ships. You'll see me talking about France. You'll see me talking about America, political earthquakes, Starmer, saying, I'm wondering if these earthquakes I'm predicting are political earthquakes. Because all these earthquakes are happening. But if you look in the areas and the regions, I've put 2 links up to the places that chart earthquakes around the British Isles in England. And then one of the things that I mention in one of these posts is, what if these earthquakes are because they're moving gold through tunnels underground? And that's one of the things that I mentioned in the Super Bowl investigation. Because there were these weird earthquakes happening in and around, like Massachusetts and Washington, D.C. and New York. And I remember, because I was making reference during the Super Bowl investigation to do with Die Hard. If they cut my phone off, I'm right. Because remember, the ground is shaking when they're moving the trucks, the dump trucks underground in New York when they're stealing the gold. So then me swiping the card. So one of the things I say is, what if the earthquakes, what if they're not earthquakes? What if it's because they're moving gold in there around in the tunnels underground, which Elon Musk, his boring company. And then I thought, if you look on the maps of where the earthquakes are charted around the British Isles and England, they're all where they have a lot of these mines. And some of these earthquakes epicenters came from France. And I've got links where I'm talking about the ground shaking under France's feet. And then I thought, what if they're not earthquakes? What if they're drilling and mining, illegally drilling and mining, and shipping everything out, that they're drilling and mining between France and Great Britain without the king knowing? And I mentioned the king as well. Portsmouth comes up a lot. They're using the military, the Navy and the Air Force to ship stuff that they're illegally mining out of Great Britain, so the king doesn't know. Between Great Britain and France comes up in those codes a lot, as you know. And remember in that dream, the von der Leyen be paying, I put that bowl in between France and Germany. Now get this. Remember that Ukrainian banker got thrown off the building in Milan? Banks have started closing down. Banks have started going insolvent because there's no money left. I've been saying from day one, they've stolen all the money. Banks don't carry cash. They have reserves in gold, right? They put all the cash that we put into the banks gets turned into gold. They've stolen all the gold, crashing the banks, crashing the stock market and that because they've stolen everything. And so they have to create this crash to make people think the money's all gone. But it's not all gone, it's because they've stolen it. Now remember I said, and again all the links are in the description box, I talk about people being put in a Zorb ball. It's a dream from like 2018, I believe, the aliens dream, where all the people are put in this protective bubble while Satan comes up and sweeps the ground of darkness. And people are scared because they think they're being put in concentration camps and that they're going to be like the Jews, being rounded up for extermination. But we're all protected. But it's the people that aren't in the protective bubbles that are about to be swept up by Satan. I've been saying it time and time and time again. I warned Trump, I warned Starmer, I warned Gates, I warned the WHO, the World Economic Forum. I warned them all what was coming if they didn't leave Russia and the king alone. Well, they haven't listened, obviously, because now what's happened is the United Nations, which I mentioned, I say United Nations, the World Health Organization, NATO, and the World Economic Forum are going to collapse. Because I think it was Odin was flipping the signs around, or Satan was flipping the signs around, which means they're going under. They're going to go under. The the United Nations is on the brink of collapse. The World Economic Forum have announced they're on, they're done for. The World Health Organization is freaking out because people have cottoned on to everything they're doing and they're losing money hand over fist. Bill Gates has had to go on the run because, and NATO, obviously, NATO have been the ones that have been helping Donald Trump and Keir Starmer and Macron and that pull all of this off. So now more Epstein files have dropped. Bill Gates is now on the run. It's been documented that he went to Epstein for antibiotics because he got STDs from sleeping with Russian prostitutes, and he got venereal diseases. And remember one of the things I said when I talked about the trine, technically, I have to say this because it annoys me, technically it's thrine. The original word for trine is thrine. Thrine, but they dropped the H because they started pronouncing it trine. But it's correct either way. And remember I said with Saturn, Neptune and Mars, they were going to come together. And before they take everyone to hell, they were going to give them things like STDs and addictions. So people like Elon Musk are addicted to drugs and alcohol. People like Bill Gates have gotten STDs. Donald Trump's skin's rotting. He's rotting from the inside out. It's now come out that he is an Israeli asset, that he was put into power by Israel, which is everything I said. Because remember, God said you're either on the side of Molech or you're on the side of God. You're either on Russia's side or Israel's side. Israel is the side of Molech where you do all the sacrifices of babies and children and bestiality and all the sins of the flesh and all of that. So that's Molech. So now it's come out that Donald Trump was put into power by Israel, and that his daughter-in-law Jared Kushner is the one running everything, which is everything I've been saying. Bill Gates has now had to go on the run because of all the stuff that's coming out about him and Epstein, and Elon Musk Jeffrey Epstein trafficked 3 girls to Elon Musk, and what have I been saying from day one? He's in on it. There's a whole list of Australian Prime Ministers, everything I've been saying, everyone I've mentioned, and because in this list of Aussie Prime Ministers and that, it's specifically mentioned in the Epstein files for blackmail purposes. Getting things on these Prime Ministers to blackmail them so that when they were ready to bring in the New World Order, when they were ready to roll out COVID, these Prime Ministers couldn't refuse, otherwise they would be dropping stuff about them and ruin their political careers. And remember, Jacinda Ardern is also on the Epstein list. So they got all these Commonwealth leaders in that. They got dirt on them, knowing that they were going to, this whole thing, the dropping the Epstein thing, was all part of it. To, like the sword of Damocles hanging over their heads. So that they would have stuff on them, so they would be forced to comply with the COVID lie. When the WHO came out with the whole COVID lie, these world leaders would have no choice but to go along with it. Otherwise, they would destroy their personal lives and political careers by dropping the Epstein bombs on them, which is everything I said. Because they needed to kill the Queen to have access to the King. They brought Andrew up again, saying that he ordered the murder of a victim, as part of the sacrifices, but I've already been there, done that with the King. I've already let him know that they were going to say these sort of things. But I also have proof that they were faking information and planning to set him up to take him down with the rest of them so that they would have an excuse to abolish the monarchy. If they, because of how they've strategically played their game of chess since the 80s, between Tony Blair and Donald Trump, it's all been strategic. The whole dropping of the Epstein thing, the faking his death, the locking her up and all that sort of thing, it was all strategic, and some of that information is fake. I had even said to the King, I'm pretty sure they've faked that. I'm pretty sure, because like they have all the technology. They've been able to fake documents and that since the 70s, and I've been able to prove it. AI technology has been around for a lot longer than people think, and the CIA and all that have admitted to using AI to doctor videos and that in order to implicate people so that they can blackmail them. It's all there, and I said to the King, they're going to say stuff, but I have my suspicions that it's all faked, so that when they drop all this stuff, when they drop all these files, when they drop everyone in it, when shit hits the fan and they're trying to protect themselves, they'll dump everyone else in the poop, and the royal family will be one of them, but they need the royal family out the way, and they've been setting it up so that people get angrier and angrier and angrier with how Starmer's running the country, that they would automatically blame the King and then want to abolish the King. It's all been strategically planned by Israel. It's everything I've been saying. Everything I've been saying. All the celebrities, Nancy Pelosi's listed, and I said Nancy Pelosi. Bush, I said the Bushes. Tom Hanks, Robert De Niro, I named all of those in my WordPress, which is why, remember, it was me mentioning Tom Hanks and Facebook that got me where they deleted my Facebook account, and now they're doing the same thing with my Instagram, because I was right. I've been right about everything. I haven't been wrong about a single thing. So there's talks about them wanting to build a tunnel between Britain and America, of course with Elon Musk doing it all. Elon Musk's boring company does a lot of these drilling these tunnels for the mines. Because you remember, he grew up with the whole emerald mines thing, so he knows how to drill mines, and his boring company drills mines in underground tunnels. And I think that that's been the reasons for the earthquakes. If you look at the way that they mine, like iridium and palladium and that it's men that crawl down into these tunnels and either hack away at it, or but they're quite a bit underground, but not so far underground that it's not like coal where it's like where they go like quite deep. It's sort of surface level earthquakes. Well, surface level enough ish earthquakes. And I'm wondering that they're not really earthquakes, that's them drilling for the precious metals and then moving them out, and it's shaking the earth, it's shaking Papatūānuku, which is why it was my aunties in the dream, why I was asked to change my perspective to see things that were being camouflaged. The earthquakes, what if they're not really earthquakes? What if the earthquakes are camouflaged for them shipping the gold and silver and precious metals out through these tunnels that Elon Musk is building for them to steal from Great Britain? And then, of course, remember they wanted to build the tunnel between Alaska and Russia, and now they're saying they want to build one between Great Britain and America. It's so that they can easier access for to ship the stuff out that they're mining illegally, also for the trafficking. And but they're doing it under the guise of great, you can drive between Great Britain and America. You won't have to fly anymore, under the guise of, disguised as human trafficking and illegal mining, under the guise of you won't have to fly, you can drive to America. It's everything I've been saying. And the photo that the press took of Bill Gates fleeing, because remember in my hairdryer dream, I said that they were going to, when the lasers came from the sky, when the tracer bullets came from the sky, the people were going to like flee to the four corners. Bill Gates has fled in a plane. And remember in my Night of the Black Sun, he gets his hand chopped off and he falls from a great height from a helicopter. So, yeah. So, his credibility, like the Department of Justice dropped a lot of, like thousands of Epstein files, and now it's all coming out. Elon Musk, people are finding out that they couldn't trust Donald Trump at all. He's just been in court. He looks he looks miserable. He's been told by the court if he doesn't comply, he's going down. Now, Starmer's going to get named in those files as well. Remember I told you Kevin Spacey recorded Ed Miliband and him and Starmer abusing children and trans kids on video. So all that's going to come out now as well, because Trump goes down with Starmer. Now, with the UN and World Economic Forum and that starting to collapse, the EU's collapsing as well. It's everything I've been saying. It's everything. I haven't been wrong about a single thing. I just misinterpreted the earthquakes, which is what God was saying. The gecko wrapped around the joints. I needed to see things from a higher perspective, but change my view a little, because there was something that was being camouflaged, something that was being hidden in plain sight that I was missing, and he needed me to see it properly in order for the rest of the thread to drop, for the codes to align. Hence the gecko. So the earthquakes aren't earthquakes; they're them illegally mining precious metals out of Great Britain and all of that, so that the people don't know about it, then collapsing the banks and the stock market and the gold and silver and that, to hide the fact that They've stolen everyone's money, that they've stolen all the gold, that they've stolen it all. Which is why I swiped my card. I knew I had money in my bank, but the card was saying no. It's a fake stock market crash. It's a fake crash to hide the fact that they've stolen everything, that they've been stealing everything. Donald Trump looked miserable. He looked defeated. He looked like he knew the game was over. And now Starmer's going to go down too, because the stuff's going to, if the stuff has already started dropping about the Commonwealth Prime Ministers, it's going to start dropping, sorry, about the Australian Prime Ministers, it's going to start dropping about the British ones as well. And Starmer and Miliband are on the Epstein files, Yvette Cooper, Ed Balls, all of them. Blair, I've already, Now the thing with the EU, remember I said that God was going to hold von der Leyen responsible for the destruction of Germany, and that Germany would be forced to have to join another nation in order to survive. That one nation, two nations would become one. There's a proposal that they split the EU up like a two-tier EU. They're already talking about breaking the EU up so that the stronger EU nations survive, because they're on the brink. You know how they collapsed the car industry in Germany to, as an excuse to hide the money for the net zero and electric vehicles and blah, blah, blah. Germany's on the brink of collapse, and this is their last desperate attempt to save themselves. And remember, I said Germany were next after France, because it was Mers and Macron that I handed that bowl to. And they're all on the Epstein list as well. But everything's starting to collapse. It's everything I said. These countries, Argentina, some Argentinian politician has come out and said that Israel are getting ready to take over Argentina, and that Javier Milei is compliant with it, like has gone along with it. It's everything I said. That Israel were wanting to take over the world, and then using people like Trump and Starmer and that as the chess pieces to do it. It's everything I said, and it's all been exposed. I woke up this morning and it's like Twitter is just full. The truth bombs have dropped and gone nuclear. It's everything I said between Christmas and New Year's when I warned Trump and Starmer what was coming if they didn't back off. It's everything I said, and now everything's been exposed. They're all being exposed. Everyone I've mentioned, Pelosi, the Bushes, the Obamas, Tom Hanks, like everyone I named all those years ago on my WordPress, the reason why they came after me when I, with Hillary Clinton and all of that, the reason why they all started coming after me back in my WordPress days is because they were terrified that what is happening right now was going to happen and I was going to expose it all. And it didn't matter what they did, locking me up, poisoning me, stripping me of my possessions, removing everyone from me. It didn't stop me, because I speak the truth and I speak God's honest truth. And everybody said I was nuts. Everybody said I was crazy. Everyone said I was going down a dark path. Nobody believed me. Nobody believed me. And now look, I was right about everything, including Musk, including the Commonwealth, and who they were working for, and like I've been right about everything. Every single thing, I haven't been wrong. My codes have been spot on since I started working on quantum magnetics from my WordPress days, which I started in 2013, but it was in 2016 when the military boys started coming to me, and I started finding out about, the trafficking and Donald Trump looks like he's on the brink of just giving up. The link's in the description box. You see him coming out of the courtroom and that he looks utterly like his shoulders are dropped. He just looks miserable because they thought they were going to get away with it. They all thought they were going to get away with it, but they keep talking, you see. They open their big traps. When Donald Trump came out the other day and said he was glad that the American dollar was collapsing, that's because he's stolen all the gold. He doesn't care about anyone else. Apparently, according to the Epstein files, some of his child victims are buried at his golf courses. And who helped sponsor his golf course in Scotland? DP World. And what did DP World, what are they known for? Trafficking kids on behalf of Epstein. And who gave DP World £1 billion? Keir Starmer. He's saying he's not backing down, but it's too late. He's saying he's not going to walk away from his prime ministerialship, but it's too late. He's going down with the rest of them. His name will start dropping next, because it's happening exactly how I said it was going to happen. And people are furious. There's a link that I put to someone on X who was saying that they've lost all faith in Donald Trump, that they have more confidence in Vladimir Putin than they do in Donald Trump. There's even someone that posted, Putin might be a lot of things, but at least he's not a pedophile. And remember I said in my rapture video that when the truth was going to come out and all the righteous people were going to step forward, people were going to see that Vladimir Putin was the good guy all along. And it was all the rest of them who were up against him who were the bad guys. And then they'd all start working together to get rid of all the bad guys. That's happening. People are seeing that Vladimir Putin wasn't the bad guy this whole time. And now everyone who went up against him because they didn't listen to my warnings, I've been warning them since Starmer got into power. I've been warning them and warning them and warning them, don't touch Russia, don't touch Russia. And then the king came in, don't touch Russia, don't touch the king, don't touch Russia, don't touch the king. And they didn't listen. And now look. So Starmer's going down because with these thousands of Epstein files that are now dropping, it's only a matter of time before his name starts coming up in those emails. And the Kevin Spacey video and all that, it's all going exactly how I said it would. And he's gone whether he likes it or not. However, if I am able to reach the king, because Elon Musk has been doing everything he can to try and stop me from posting things, the earthquakes and the mining, it's a lot bigger and deeper than even what I thought up until yesterday, because I had this dream and then I figured it all out, and now it's like, the earthquakes, the ones that were centred in France, the ones that are centred all around the areas where I said. If you look at where a lot of these earthquakes have been, like Oceania, Asia, Western Europe, and Great Britain and that, they're all where they have these iridium mines and palladium mines and osmium mines, but they don't want people knowing that they're doing it because they want the wealth for themselves. They want to collapse everything, get on their spaceship and fly to Mars. Because they're lunatics. And so, so I was right about Elon Musk being one of them. So my exes, all the ones that worked for Donald Trump, all the ones that complied with Donald Trump and Elon Musk, my exes cult, all of them. are now going to go down. I've been saying it before because they didn't listen. And they, they had to mess with my Instagram, and they had to mess with my government support and threaten me with this and threaten me with that. They just had to do it because they didn't listen, because they thought they'd have the backing of the FBI, the Department of Justice. Oh, we've got billionaires and presidents and prime ministers and that backing us. Yeah, well, I had God backing me. And Papatūānuku. So you can have all your presidents and Secret Service and that backing you, but I only needed God. And now look what I've done. Because they didn't listen. And now, like my hairdryer dream, they're all scattering to the four corners of the globe. But nowhere to run, nowhere to hide now. The truth's out. They'll start walking around with those masks on to hide their identity. Because that's what a lot of them do. They wear those casting masks so that they can't be seen in public. That's what they'll start doing. But they'll all be rounded up anyway. They'll all get rounded up and sent to military trials. Donald Trump is losing all his court cases. He's losing all his money. He's so desperate now for money because they've frozen it all. But it's like I said, it's karma. They did the same thing to Russia, so now the same thing's happening to them. Remember I said there was a bad omen coming for Starmer. Well, yeah, the Epstein files are going to drop. It's only a matter of time before his name comes up in the Epstein files for the whole world to see. And stuff has already started dropping anyway with him and Ed Miliband and what they did to the girls and the trans kids. So the reason why he won't back down is because they're all terrified that if they don't do what Israel says, the stuff is going to get dropped. But the Department of Justice have started dropping everything anyway. Because I gave God the order when. So the thing about Prince Andrew, not everything is as it seems, because the only way they were going to pull off this New World Order thing was by getting rid of the king. And they have to make people believe and think anything and everything they can about the royal family so that they have the people's permission to abolish the monarchy, which is why Starmer has been pushing the king's buttons and threatening him to force the issue. But it's all been done on purpose. So I was right about everything. Who was involved, why they were involved, and it's a war between good versus evil. And now the two worlds are split, Quantum Menace and the Battle of Two Worlds. Now people have been made to choose. Are you on God's side or are you on Molech's side? Are you on Russia's side or are you on Israel's? Because there's only one good side, and that's God's. And if you choose the other side, if you choose the side of Israel, you're going down with Molech, with Lucifer at the helm, Donald Trump, and it's playing out for everyone to see. People are furious. Americans are furious with Donald Trump. They feel so betrayed and so let down. So you watch, the protests and riots will start now. He's finished. I told him it was going to come to his door. Yeah, him and Starmer will go down together because Starmer's name will get dropped in those files too. So then people will say, oh, Debbie was right. Debbie was right about everything. Well, God was right about everything. He warned them. You keep pushing these fake plagues, like India with their fake bat plague. They're still trying to do it. They're still trying to pass it off. So India's been warned now as well. Keep passing these fake plagues. Keep trying to force vaccines. Keep trying to lie to everyone, stealing their wealth, threatening to, the digital IDs. Like they had to keep pushing it. So now they're all going to fall together. So India's been given a warning. If they don't, they're saying that the plague is contained, but now there's little pockets of people saying, oh, it's going to come to America and Great Britain and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh my God, really? But now, yeah, the WHO are in panic because they have no funding, but it's because they didn't listen. And they killed the Queen. And she was laughing. Like when I saw that picture of Bill Gates fleeing from being held accountable with his little STD self, which is ironic considering he thinks he's like, the doctor of the World Health Organization and he's running around getting STDs. And yeah, Tedros will go down with him, Fauci will go down with him, they'll all go down together. But yeah, when I saw him getting off the plane and it said, that he's fleeing to escape the Epstein fallout, I just heard the Queen laughing. Cheers! In that dream, where he was being publicly executed. Well, he's been publicly executed now. It's all out there. And apparently it's the reason why he got his divorce, why she divorced him. So I was right about everything. I said they'd get STDs, they'd have addictions, they'd go nuts. Well, when you mess with me, you mess with God. When you mess with me, my Father comes down. So, because I'm the Holy Spirit. And what did Jesus say? When you blaspheme against the Father, you'll be forgiven. When you blaspheme against the Son, you'll be forgiven. If you blaspheme against the Holy Spirit, you won't be forgiven on earth or in heaven. Don't touch my daughter. Because she's the messenger. I've put her here to let everyone know what's going to happen and what's going down and, to help them through the dark ages, the darkest ages of human evolution. If you touch her, I'm coming for you. Well, they didn't listen. They had to touch my social media. They had to touch my kids. They had to touch my, my benefits, all of it. Feeding me poisoned apples. They had to go there. They wanted to win at all costs. And now look. Kaboom! Truth bombs dropping like nuclear ones. And the king needs to get someone to look into these mines. Because where all these earthquakes are, you can see the list of them. If you see the list of all where the earthquakes have been over the last few years, what did I say yesterday? Go back to about 2022. And you'll see that a lot of these earthquakes are in the areas where they have these mines that I pointed out yesterday. And I think you'll find they've been stealing from you. They've been stealing precious metals, rare precious metals, right out from under your nose. And letting people think that it's earthquakes when it's not. It's Elon Musk and his little tunnels and the Navy and the Air Force and the Army shipping everything out for presidents and prime ministers so that they could fly to Mars. God. And they said I was nuts. They only thought I was nuts because they have no clue about physics and have no faith in God because they're all Antichrist. They're Antichrist, but they're actually nuts. They thought they were going to get away with it. Die Hard. I said it was just like Die Hard. Die Hard 3, is it the one with Samuel L. Jackson? When they steal the money, steal the gold, break into the vaults by going underground and using the dump trucks and that. So that's why the gecko was wrapped around the joints. Because I needed to see things from a higher perspective because things were being camouflaged. So the earthquakes weren't really earthquakes. It's the ground shaking from the mining and them shipping everything out. Bearing in mind that, when people go missing and they go missing off the face of the earth, like they just completely vanish, there's no trace of them, it's because they go underground. They take them underground. They move them all underground. And who builds their tunnels? Elon Musk. And now, everything I've said about him has been proven to be true. He's one of them. And my ex-husbands and the little cult all bowed down to Molech. They all, they're all pedophile protectors, pedophiles, child abusers, sexual predators, like they're all the court case and everything. Um, they're all lumped together in the same court case. And it's all going to be documented. Everything I've been working on, everything I've been saying about Epstein, that naming names, all of it. So now they're all of their names. So they're technically on the Epstein list too. Well done, great job. Instead of doing the work and making yourself better people, you had to all try and work together to bring me down, to stop me from protecting children, to stop me from building my school, because you wanted to have everything I was creating all for yourself. Just like they're doing with the gold and silver, crashing it all. Had to crash it all because you wanted it all for yourself. And now look, idiots. Well done. Of all the people in all the world that you had to turn on, to steal from and mimic and pretend to be, of all the people in the world that you had to screw over, you screwed over the wrong person, although technically you screwed over the right person. You screwed over the one person who was going to be able to turn it all back on you and fight in order to get justice for my king, for Russia, for the rest of the world, for the children. If you hadn't have betrayed me and done what you all did, thinking you were better than me because you had the backing of presidents and prime ministers and billionaires and secret service and justice and military and all that, if you had have just done the work and not thought that you were going to get away with it because you had the backing of all of them, you'd be on the right side of justice. I'd rather be on the right side of God's justice than the right side of judicial justice. Because now you're all going to be known as Epsteiners. You're all going to be known in legal books and in history as people who took the side of pedophiles and sex traffickers. You thought you were stealing my work, stealing my identity, stealing my products, stealing my plans, stealing my future, when you just walked right into the trap that God set for you all those years ago, when you all failed the Judas test that you signed up for in your contracts. When I said everything I say and everything I do is a test. Remember I kept saying, you'll have your little screenshots of our conversations. It'll all be there. Remember, everything I say and do is a test. You failed the test. You took the side of Molech. You took the side of Lucifer. You chose Lucifer over God. Because what did they offer you? TV shows, game studios, worldwide fame, worldwide recognition. Well, you're going to get worldwide fame and worldwide recognition now, because remember what my teacher said. The people who gang up on me, the people who do this to me, are going to become the most hated people in the world. The betrayal will be such that when it comes out and the world knows my name and I am exalted for my work, those who did it to me will go down in history as the most hated people in the world. You won't be able to get jobs. You won't be able to get, you won't be able to rent apartments or houses. You won't be able to rent anything. You won't be able to get jobs. Your names will be blacklisted. People won't let you into their buildings. You'll be completely ostracised and isolated because nobody's going to want to deal with you, including your own friends and family, because you didn't listen, because you thought you knew better than me. You forced me to have to reveal myself. I didn't want people to know who I was. I didn't want people to know what I was because I was waiting for a protector. I wasn't supposed to be revealed until I had my protector by my side. But all the options ended up betraying me and selling their souls to the devil just the same. None of them could be trusted to have my back. None of them showed up for me. None of them made themselves present. They all played stupid games and forced me to have to become the dragon and expose my wings. But I did it. Thank God for Totem, Panda and Dragon. You should have left me alone. You should have left my kids alone. You should have left my work alone. You should have left my social media alone. You touching my Instagram was the final straw. And now you're all going to crash and burn together. Just like I said, the gates of hell have opened up and Satan's stoking the fire. And now he's going to kick you all in. Boop, 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 boop. So get ready, Starmer, because the truth's about to come out about your video. You and Ed Miliband, that's what you get for raping Papatuanuku and calling it net zero. You threaten my king, you threaten me, you threaten my income, you threaten my living situation, and now you're going to pay for it just like I said you were at Christmas time. So you and Donald Trump can hold hands as you go crashing and burning into hell. I was right about everything. I was right about everything, and you were all going to owe me a lot of money. I'm going to shut that NHS down. I'm going to make sure those doctors lose their medical licence, because what they did to me was criminal. And then we get to tear it all down and start again. For those who chose God and not Molech. And remember, God is Allah as well. So, great job, idiots. However, I should be grateful because you've just proved how powerful my physics is. There isn't a physicist anywhere working for CERN or any of them who have a patch on my physics. God physics. There is nobody in the world that has the power of God physics like I do. Wahaha. So thanks for the betrayal, because you literally made me the most powerful woman in the universe, and I didn't have to do anything. Sitting here in my Jimmy Jams, pointing my finger. So yeah, taking my Instagram, taking my access to Amber's messages, you really screwed the pooch there. Although you would, because you're all into bestiality and stuff, so I know, because I had to study it and it's repulsive. Right, so there you go. I'm going to go and make another coffee, but you didn't listen and now you're all going to pay. Leave my king alone. Leave Russia alone. Just leave us alone so that we can make the world a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. Oh, bless them. Well, that's what we're going to do, and all the rest of you can crash and burn. You all owe me millions of money. So I'll be waiting for that. Thank you very much. So all the links are in the description box below. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.